there front and center, ready to rock and roll. Game day kickoff presented by Satfa along with David Carr and Steve White. Mike Am with you. All right, a lot to unpack because we were on the set at halftime. There's a lot of positives that we saw offensively, really from a Dillon Gabriel perspective. Second half rolled around, and it felt like things got a little dirty.
You're being quite kind, right?
Yes, I'm trying.
You know, we had some quarterback changes, we had some personnel changes, and the second half just wasn't very good. It was not fun to watch. What about the Philadelphia Eagles overall? 88 total yards of offense. It's not something, you know, they're going to be too excited about. Yeah. You know, again, they didn't play a lot of their starters or anything like that, but still, not to generate that type of offense. Dorian Thompson-Robinson struggled at quarterback when he was in there. They just really didn't get, you know, Kyle McCord was not very good when he got in there offensively. So that was tough. But Dillon Gabriel, I thought overall, David, for the Cleveland Browns, starting the game really was clean.
I thought he looked great. I mean, especially after we watched that second half and we saw the contrast to what it could look like. Dillon played fantastic. Hand on the left guard's back, finding a third down to his tight end. Great throw right here on 3rd and 5. Sideline, tight man-man coverage. I thought overall he had poise. I thought he moved the offense up and down the field. There were only a couple plays where those are the only ones he's going to think about. Obviously, the interception, what could have happened, the fumble on the handoff. But I think overall, he looked fantastic. He looked like a veteran leading the group out there. So obviously, Philly's side with the offense, like that's what we were kind of worried about before. Now, no starters played. Jalen wasn't out there. Saquon, obviously, these guys weren't out there. But I think overall, they still got some things to work on.
We will continue to discuss Dillon Gabriel, where he stacks up now on the depth chart in that quarterback room, coming off Shedeur Sanders from a week ago in preseason, week number 1. Now, week 2, we have some sample size to evaluate some of these players. Meanwhile, keep in mind, Niners and Raiders, we got that matchup coming up in just a couple minutes, but there's some other games going on right now across the end.
That have been there, that have gone through some of the similar things that you have. I mean, there's some haters for Jalen as well. Some would say it was me. It wasn't me, okay? I love Jalen. Jalen's fantastic.
I remember that, actually.
That? It's crazy. Like, I just want the best for Philly and the best for Jalen. So here's what it is. So,
says a former Giants quarterback.
I definitely am a hater for Philly. So Shedeur, like when I watch Jalen, it gives me the warm and fuzzies because he's never in a panic. And I think that's the #1 thing that Shedeur can take from Jalen's game is just play.
So maybe how to deal with some of that. But I think Jalen, when you see the maturity of such a young man, probably just told him, just deal with things as they come to you. I mean, that's why I'm glad Shedeur sought him out, because Shedeur's he's got advice from his dad, a Hall of Famer. But, you know, Deion's level of fame is next level. You know, Shedeur's probably met a lot of different people. So getting a little sample from a guy who just won a Super Bowl in a market like that, I think, is really important.
Shedeur's done a lot of this, too. I signed with Myles Garrett when I was out there in Cleveland. He walked across the aisle, which usually that doesn't happen for a rookie quarterback, talking with Myles. Like, so he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's trying to get all the information he can.
Yep. Might just be one nugget, just one little thing that can change the trajectory of what we're going to see this season. Now, we don't know if we're going to see Shedeur Sanders on the football field this upcoming season. There's a little bit of a quarterback battle. Judy Batista's in Philadelphia has more on that. Take me through, Judy, this competition that everyone's been talking about the last few weeks.
Yeah, it never really materialized, I think, the way the Browns had hoped it would. Don't forget, this was never going to be a 4-way competition. It was going to be two-way competitions. Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett were supposed to compete for the starting job, and then the 2 rookies would compete. It never really materialized for the starting job, though, because the only healthy quarterback throughout training camp was the 40-year-old Joe Flacco. Kenny Pickett, 3 weeks ago, hurt his hamstring and hasn't been able to come all the way back to practice. So that set him way back in the competition that, frankly, the Browns hoped he was going to give Joe Flacco. They wanted Kenny Pickett to push Joe Flacco. They were open to Kenny Pickett winning the starting job. That's not going to happen. He is almost certainly going to be named the starting quarterback by Kevin Stefanski this week. And actually, Joe Flacco may actually get on the field in the preseason finale next weekend. As for the rookies, Dillon Gabriel had the hamstring injury. Shedeur Sanders had a sore arm one time, and then now he has the oblique injury that is keeping him out of the game today. So those 2 are still competing. In the pecking order right now, it's Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, then Dillon Gabriel, then Shedeur Sanders. But frankly, that order is up for grabs. We will see how Dillon Gabriel does. We know that Shedeur Sanders had a really impressive debut last week, throwing for 2 touchdown passes. We'll see if Dillon Gabriel can match that The question is, what is the order of the depth chart going to be, and will the Browns keep 4 quarterbacks? Andrew Berry, the general manager, has said repeatedly they are open to keeping 4 quarterbacks. That would be very unusual in the NFL, but we'll see if that's where the Browns are.
So the depth chart in that quarterback room is a fluid situation. We will find out a little bit more clarity as the preseason continues to unroll. On the flip side, the Eagles, we know, Judy, there's studs all over the place. So how do they manage their key players today?
Well, you're not really going to see any of their starters today. No Saquon Barkley, no Jalen Hurts, and actually, you're not even going to see backup quarterback Tanner McKee. That is because he played extensively last week, did really well. They love him. They know what they've got in him. He threw 2 touchdown passes last week. What they really need to see is the Eagles, 2 guys who are competing to the 3rd quarterback. That's Kyle McCord, the rookie, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Those guys are competing to be the number 3 quarterback in Philadelphia, so they are going to split time here today at this game. None of the starters for Philly, you know who the stars are. They don't need to get them out on the field anymore.
Judy, once again, I know you got a little more coverage for us in Philadelphia. Stay cool, because you and I were talking a little bit earlier. I know it's a little steamy in Philadelphia, so we'll get closer.
My brother learned how to read defenses. Like, I'd say, this is cover 2. We'd go in the practice session, just play against it. So there's different things you can do.
Better gamer, you or your brother?
Is he listening right now?
Oh, you tell me.
I think he is, because he just sent me a picture of me talking, so yes, it's absolutely your older brother. I taught you the game, bro. Relax.
I feel like your phone's going to be blowing up.
Already
We'll let everyone know what comes of the response that you're better than Derek when it comes to Madden. I do want to focus in on this Eagles team, because we've spent a lot of time talking about their offense, and yet this morning you and I were talking, and you're like, hey, this defense, you actually think could be better this season than it was a year ago.
It could be. I mean, and I say that with some trepidation because, they were so good last year, but you lose players, you lose some players like Milton Williams and Darius Slay and Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat, but they've got the young players that they've drafted and developed now who've been in the system for a year or 2. Then you land someone like a Jihad Campbell, an inside linebacker, who I'm going to be eyeballing today. Their speed could be better. I know there's some issues, some concerns. Can this guy fit? I remember those same concerns last year. Can this young player, can Jordan Davis all of a sudden step up? He's a monster. Right, so I believe in Vic Fangio, their coaching staff. They've got the potential to be better. They're just going to be stressed a little bit more if teams like Washington are a little bit better on offense and things like that. So that's where this young athleticism should pay off. The depth just might not be what it was last season.
Yeah, you got to play your game. It's going to be the trenches we talked about, all day so far. In the secondary, it's interesting because there are some question marks. And like when you go into the defending Super Bowl champion's house, usually there's not that many holes, but like on the back end, there's a little bit of a battle going on with Ringo. Like, how's he doing in practice? I heard some not great things about joint practices. Dory Jackson's there as a veteran guy. Vic Fangio likes veteran guys. He likes guys that he can kind of do multiple things with, especially in the secondary. So up front, I'm not really concerned about it. I think there's so much depth there. Those guys are going to be able to rotate through there. But the secondary, with some of those question marks, like, DeJean can only do so much. He can only cover so much. So I think we'll see what happens there, but it's going to be interesting.
It's like littered with kids, that defense, if you think about it. I mean, 7 returning starters on the defensive side are 28 or younger.
That's how some teams do it, though. They pay their offensive guys, and they go young and develop, and the Niners have done it forever.
Kansas
City has done that. I mean, you kind of have to. There's only so much cap space, right? Like, you have to figure it out. You got to draft well, and clearly Howie Roseman has done a tremendous job of that. Browns are a team, and I know we spent, 44 minutes every time the Browns come up, we're talking about their quarterback situation, and yet I think about this team's defense being a real leadership aspect and really carrying the squad, and also running the football. What do you expect to see in the backfield?
Well, quickly, I think the defense is going to be better just because of a lot of things that are going, mostly because of the conversations that I had out there in Cleveland, and just talking with Joe Flacco and some of their coaches. They really want to get back, roll the clock back, to let Kevin Stefanski install this offense that he's always done. Run, play, action, pass. So Ford, he's going to get some touches. There's a lot of running backs there, and that's what's nice about the preseason. We'll get to see how that shakes out, who's going to get the touches, but I really think that, establishing that again is the main thing for them. It's going to settle down the offensive line issues that they had last year. A lot of the stuff they were trying to do is they tried to create an offense for Deshaun Watson when he was there. So it was very much a spread offense, but they have to get back to the roots. Kevin's going to be calling the plays again, so everything's going to settle down. But the forward element, all the other backs, they're going to get touches now. They're going to get opportunities. They have to run the ball, honestly, because the defense can't be on the field as much as they were last year, stress them out too much, control the clock, get a veteran quarterback in there. I know we're talking about all the other quarterbacks, but Flacco will calm that thing down as well. I don't know how many wins they're going to have, but I think they'll be more solid as far as what they are on offense.
And that's because, Flacco can get under center a lot. You talk about Deshaun Watson.
Did that a lot in Baltimore.
Can you run the ball, with Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
A good player with, playing out of shotgun all the time.
That's
so
right.
now they can get under center. They can do some things.
That's a great point.
To stretch things out. But like Dillon Sampson, the young running back out of Tennessee. I mean, he's someone who, David, you've been there. I've been trained. They love him. He's an explosive, exciting player. And now you got the Quinshon Judkins situation, right? The legal situation, at least legally down in Florida, is settled. We don't know if there's going to be a suspension from the league of any sort. He's still yet to sign his contract with the Browns. We're looking at Dillon Sampson right here. I mean, we're seeing this in practice as well. But with Judkins, if he can come back and steadily ramp his way up, that gives him an explosive element that they just don't have that you need in this run game. He's a bigger back. You got to have the big physical back up there in that weather, but also someone who can hit the big play. So you have those two young players who can hit the big play. That's going to open some things up for the passing game with the run action.
Win a little dirty in the NFL. It's okay. I mean, you play some defense, run the football, control.
It's got to be ugly.
Right? I mean, it's nice to see some of those explosives.